So this week's episode we have the Hooffields and McCults, which I honestly thought by the title of this episode we had a fight between Garfield's family and the McCults, but I was wrong. So, yeah, it's what I thought it was. It was basically, well, the second thought I had was it was going to be basically Twilight and Fluttershy are going to solve a family feud. But also another thing I was assuming is that basically what we said is that what many people, I'm guessing, were assuming is that of course this is an episode where the map winds up sending Fluttershy and Twilight to this place and area where the Hooffields and the McCults are, feuding over something. But we learned from, if I remember right, Made in Manhattan, that if Twilight was to be summoned, she might use her magic to solve the problem with just that. Which might have been a huge problem for just about everyone, but I guess, thankfully, the writers found a way around it. So, thankfully, Twilight didn't use her magic at all. So, great job. But, better get into it. So, basically, as I stated, Fluttershy and Twilight are called by the cutie map to go to this little isolated area where two families, the Hooffields and McCults, are split by two mountains. And what they have to do is they have to figure out what the situation's about. All that they know is they're fighting against each other. And that's about it. All that they know is that they're getting attacked by pumpkins. And that's about it. So they wind up going down, and the first instances, they assume that they're spies for each of the families, but, they say they're not. And basically, they try to get some information about them, but they obviously make some ration assumptions or whatever that they think one family did another thing, and that's about it. Then the two wind up going to the other family to see if they're right about another thing. Again, the same thing happens, but they say that the other family, Hooffield, but the McCults wind up saying that the Hooffields wind up taking a pin out of their wheelbarrows, which somehow wound up becoming a tradition over the years. And all that they could get out of them for food is basically pumpkins, because the only way they could survive is foods, and that's about it. So, Twilight tries to make a statement between the two, but unfortunately the Hooffields attack them with tomatoes, and in the long run, the family winds up stopping, but the McCults attacks them with hay bales, and then the Hooffield attacks them more with tomatoes. Then they have to find another way around it. They try sending an apology cake, but the family winds up baking the family in an apology cake, which winds up causing the family to feud some more. winds up causing the family to declare an all-out war in between the two mountains. And obviously this basically winds up causing Twilight to despair, and after a while, the animals that Fluttershy winds up finding sees that, well, actually, the animals wind up telling Fluttershy the reason why both the families were feuding. It wasn't because of the reasons that... It wasn't because of those two reasons that the family said they were feuding. It was because they wanted to do two different things at the exact same time, but both disagreed. Which, they both stopped the family from feuding, and they tell the story, and they both decide to call a truce to the whole thing, and they basically live happily ever after from that point. So, I would say the Hoofield and McColts, well, actually, I'm basically getting too far on this. What winds up happening in the end is that the family actually winds up, calling a truce. They wind up actually building and planning at the exact same time, and decide that they both don't need to declare war, or don't need to fight anymore to figure out who's the winner of all this, as the map now says that they're both winners of all this. As the maps now basically says that they now solved the friendship problem, as they basically wonder what their next problem is. And that's about it. So, the Hoofield and McColts. After watching the distasteful and mixedful feelings I had about What About Discord out of the way, I will have to say that the Hoofield and McColts was a better, refreshing taste. And at least that this one was a bit better in what it was. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen, the feuding family trope in an episode. I mean, I don't remember how long it's been or whatever, or at least what show I've seen it in, but, it's kind of good that I've actually seen it. But, I like the tropes and what they do in it. Heck, I even like how, one of the families says the name of the family. I mean, the short guy or whatever, I don't want to, offend anyone, but it's the McCall, the guy who basically says the Hoofield family, who says, Hoofield? I mean, basically, whenever he says that name, just about every time, it just cracks me up. And all I can say right now is, I love the episode, and I really look forward to what happens in next week's episode. And I think next week's episode, Applejack turns into a singer. Which, I wonder what Applejack sounds like with Applejack's, or at least Ashley Ball's singing voice. Because Rainbow Dash sounded awesome with her singing solo. I bet, well, actually, Razor's Bond was actually kind of good, but I wonder if it's been a long time since I've heard Applejack sing, so Wonder what she'll sound like. Well, I don't remember much of the description for next week's episode, but I'll look forward to it. Plus, the finale's coming up soon. Be prepared, gentlemen. But I look forward to see what's in next week's episode, which is main attraction, I guess? But with that said, all I can do is just wait until next week, and I'll see you guys for the next episode. Later.